A high diver plunges into 30 centimeters of water?
He's got to land this right, or it's potentially deadly.
A daring fire fanatic douses himself in flames.
There have probably been people who've been on fire longer than him. They just have not lived.
And a sideshow artist takes an electric drill up his nose.
If you do it wrong, you can cause some serious injury.
Whether fact, fakes, or flukes, we'll dissect these amazing web videos and break down the science behind them. Right now, on Superhuman Science. High atop a platform, a stunt diver launches off the edge and plunges with a mighty splash. In seconds, he's up, knee-deep in the shallow water of an inflatable kiddie pool.
That is a very shallow pool. That man is mildly insane.
Meet Professor Splash, aka Darren Taylor of Colorado, USA.
Now, when I was very young, I developed a technique of landing flat on the water and holding my breath on impact and being able to survive belly flops from extreme heights.
As you're watching him do this, you see that he's going to do a belly flop, and you think, oh, no, Professor Splash, don't do a belly flop, that's going to hurt.
He holds 30 world records for this, and may be the only diver in the world to master the crazy art of the shallow dive.
Most of us have belly flopped into a pool, and you know how painful that can be. Well, imagine doing that from 10.9 meters above the ground into 30 centimeters of water.
Hitting the water as a solid surface from that height will feel like concrete.
I have had some injuries over the years, severe bruising around the face and stuff, and there's a lot of fear involved.
This is really equivalent to being hit by a truck.
One of my biggest problems is with concussions. I've had a lot of concussions. 9 of them out of 30 of my big television special dives.
Based on how far he's falling, he is traveling at almost 15 meters per second when he hits the water. That's more than 50 kilometers an hour.
It's a spectacular stunt. So how does Professor Splash do this and not die? Our experts break down the science of his dive.
When he reaches the top of the water, he's built up a lot of speed from accelerating downward due to the gravitational force. Well, now he has to accelerate upwards in order to stop himself and reach a velocity of 0.
He's trying to spread eagle, if you will, and give himself as much surface area to slow himself down as quickly as possible in that very, very shallow pool of water.
I want to land flat. I'm landing on the water about 40 miles an hour. So it's very important that I'm very tense and I get ready for that impact.
The tenser his body and the more surface area on impact, the more water there is to push him back up. These factors increase the force of water, slowing him to a stop. He's also developed a special dive maneuver to enter the water.
When you watch the clip, slow it down a little bit. He's got his hands out in front of him. He hits the water like this. So he has his hands in front of him, and as soon as they touch the surface of the water, he moves them apart.
This helps cushion the impact of his big, splashy, flat landing, similar to the way other divers go in hands first.
First, it breaks the surface tension of the water, so he's not hitting quite so hard an obstacle. And second, he gets his hands out of the way because otherwise he could break his hands. He's only in 30 centimeters of water.
He's got to land this right, or it's potentially deadly.
But does surviving insanely shallow dives qualify him as superhuman?
He's figured out the science to this, and he's worked it to his advantage. This is where intellect is really the superhuman component.
Professor Splash continues his tenure as the king of shallow water dives.
I've been a platform diver all my life. My dives are very, very dangerous, and you can be extremely injured. You can die from what I do. So don't do this at home.
Next, we turn from a belly flopper to a classic rivalry of man versus machine. Top-ranked German table tennis star Timo Boll is set to take on a cold and calculating opponent. His rival? A powerful mechanical arm with a lightning-fast swing.
Wow, man versus machine. This is pretty cool. You're gonna have a competition.
I'm definitely happy to play against the robot. The speed of the robots nowadays. And in addition, their precision. Really, it's to the millimeter, and it's totally crazy. I'm eager to see how it turns out in the end.
Who will reign supreme?
I couldn't believe my eyes when I first saw this video.
The robot's agile arm quickly returns the ball from anywhere on the table.
This machine has the ability to manipulate this little ping pong ball over the paddle. I mean, it's amazing.
The robot takes an early lead. But Timo then appears to pinpoint the robot's weaknesses.
The robot wasn't sweating.
Finally, with a killer spike, he wins the match.
In the man versus machine race, man still wins.
But was this match rigged or for real? Our experts are suspicious.
Could a robot be returning these balls back to him? Absolutely.
To play a competitive game of ping pong, you need to, yes, be able to track the ball, but also you need to be able to anticipate where your opponent is.
Do I think that robot was able to move quickly enough to maintain the pace at which he typically plays? I don't know that the robot is able to do that.
Even if it could track the ball, I don't think could actually track where his opponent was moving on the other side.
Because of how table tennis balls are made, they're incredibly fast and unpredictable in play.
The ball doesn't come to the robot the same way every time either. If it did, then okay, you could program it to respond that way. But it comes at different angles, it spins at different points, and the robot has to be able to accommodate that with its paddle, and that's a really hard thing to do.
I certainly think that the machine has all the ranges of motion necessary to accomplish those movements. I just don't think it's actually playing ping pong.
Our visual effects expert also believes this video is rigged.
The production is fabulous. The quality of the footage is amazing. You can also tell that is a 3D robot and a 3D ping pong ball, without question.
In this shot, the ball isn't even hit before it changes direction. Another telltale sign that this is a hoax. So how did they do it? By using multiple cameras to capture Timo's reactions and by adding in animated ping pong balls later.
I went through it frame by frame. You have the actor-athlete running around, swinging a paddle, catching that footage on tape, and then bringing it in to composite and literally animating a ping pong ball, going back and forth, being hit or missed as the drama builds.
Also, shadows are tricky to animate, so they lit the scene carefully.
They put directional lighting above, projecting downward, so that helped them have all of the shadows of each object directly underneath themselves, instead of interacting with each other.
But it's Timo's last game that is the ultimate fake.
So if you were still unsure as to whether or not the ping pong ball was real, that pretty much seals the deal that this is all composited.
Turns out this video is a commercial for a robotics company, and it racked up over 4 million views and counting online. Still, man versus robot is super entertaining.
The only super thing about this is Super Timo.
Ohio, USA. An amateur stuntman greets a crowd at Chagrin Falls. Seconds later, he ignites himself, and flames engulf his body.
Fire by far is my favorite stunt. The rush, and the feeling.
The Burning Man is Ted Batchelor. For 30 years, he's been getting up close and personal with one of the most destructive forces of nature.
If you watch this in slow motion, it definitely looks like something out of a horror movie. Oh, and he jumps!
He's definitely looking for a thrill, and for him being on fire helps fulfill that.
Feel good, Ted?
Yeah.
How was the flame?
Play with fire and you will get burned, or so the saying goes. But that's not true in Ted's case. So why not?
His skin isn't actually on fire. He's not feeling the full intensity of the heat.
He's putting a lot of layers between himself and the fire.
His first layer is a fire retardant gel.
That fire retardant gel is a polymer that's water-based.
This is actually like a goo that he can put all over his body.
So the ability of this polymer to hold water is what helps keep him cool.
That layer can only do so much, and the last thing Ted wants is for his skin to catch fire.
On top of the gel, he's got flame retardant suits.
This suit, any defect could cause significant burns, second, third degree burns, a long hospitalization, and potentially death.
Ted's constant movement also helps control the burn.
He has provided just enough fuel source on his clothing, and he's obviously walking it around and giving it enough oxygen. If we can replay that last part, you can really see my point. As he moves quickly, we get flames that trickle up higher.
As the fire burns, it's giving off carbon dioxide, water vapor, and to a lesser extent, carbon monoxide.
If he breathes in any of this hot air or fire, he could really suffer significant burns to both his trachea and his lungs.
So the amount of time he's able to burn depends on how long he can hold his breath.
When you do breathe in, the oxygen that comes into your lungs diffuses into your blood, and that blood goes around and feeds the cells in your body. Maybe those cells make it back to the lungs, get new oxygen, and maybe you can do this for a few minutes before your body really needs a fresh supply of oxygen.
130, 131, 132.
Ted Batchelor holds the world record of 2 minutes and 57 seconds for the longest full-body burn without supplied oxygen.
The most impressive thing about this really is that he can get past the mental barrier of being on fire.
It's that mental grit that makes Ted Batchelor's fire feats superhuman.
My vote is superhuman and super scary.
Now we shift from a fire starter to a risky way to clear your head. Get ready. This clip is dangerous and hard to watch.
Pair of scissors.
You might want to cover your eyes.
Okay, I can only watch this once.
We watch it with one eye closed.
This is Canadian stunt artist Ryan Stock, and his act is not for the squeamish.
Patients have a tough time having you take a look up their nose, let alone take a drill that far back.
But is this real or is it fake?
These stunts aren't necessarily faked. I do think that we're seeing everything honest to goodness as it's happening.
Is it safe? Absolutely not. Is it not a smart thing to do? It's not a smart thing to do.
Turns out it's a perilous trick of human anatomy.
Perform this stunt probably over 600 times a year, maybe even more. And as time has gone on, I've developed calluses inside my nose. I've stretched out my nasal cavity.
So you notice that he's going into his nose, in through his nostrils, and what he's doing is he's actually going back into his nasal cavity.
You might not realize that our nasal cavities don't go up, but rather they go straight back.
Behind your face are multiple sinuses, and these are air-filled spaces. And that's where that drill is traveling.
And some people are more empty-headed than others.
So the drill isn't technically hitting anything, providing he's careful.
The drill just travels directly along my upper palate. It goes through the nasal cavity, and when it's running, it vibrates and tickles.
The wrong maneuver with that drill, and all of a sudden, you're probably through the skull base and into the brain.
The potential for grave bodily injury doesn't deter Ryan. And there might be no end to what he'll push up his nose.
So we're looking at this hook now that's coming in his nose and out his mouth, and that's really gross.
I'm sure very messy the first couple of times.
When you first start learning this, you have a sneeze reflex that wants to react. You'll have blood. You'll have a lot of snot pouring out of your nose. It's disgusting. It's painful, and it's not a fun process to learn.
So is this one real or a trick?
The camera starts on one side of his face, goes all the way around and back without any cuts. That hook went through his nose and around. It's real. It's really gross, but it's real.
Seeing a huge hook sink deep into the nasal cavity might make some people squirm.
There's actually one big open cavity that leads from your nose into your mouth.
Think of how many times you've laughed and had milk come out your nose. It's that same hole, but now with a hook.
That's why you're able to breathe both through your mouth and through your nose, because those passageways are all connected.
The curve on that hook would have been perfect to cover that entire distance. If we could have laid that next to his face, we could have traced out along the nose and down out through the throat.
Stunt artist Ryan Stock seems fearless and performs his freaky sideshow tricks under the threat of extreme injury. As for Superhuman, he gets a split decision.
Not superhuman, super gross.
Extremely difficult to watch, and yet quite impressive, and you sort of can't look away either.
Next, we move from a brain-scraping drill in the head to world-famous pogo sticking. This pogo stunt rider soars through risky backflips, outrageous wall plants, and high-flying tricks.
He can do with a pogo stick what most of us can't do with our feet.
That is not the pogo stick I had when I was 8 years old, let me tell you.
He's Pogo Fred, aka Fred Grisbowski of Ohio, USA.
The tricks we're doing today are absolutely insane, and if things go wrong, they could seriously hurt you, so we take a lot of precautions.
He holds multiple world records and is famous for this double backflip dismount.
Double backflip dismount, that trick has actually hurt me more than any other trick. Double backflips are just crazy to do on concrete. Definitely just trying to stay focused and trying not to die.
It seems almost impossible. So how does he do it?
He's able to bounce up and down with the right amount of force to give them enough height to do all of these tricks.
To get serious air like this, a powerful high-performance stick is crucial.
When the high-performance pogo sticks came out about 9 years ago, that's when things really started to take off, and I really got into doing these massive, crazy tricks.
This device he's using actually has a special elastic band.
It's the material makeup of the new one that is giving him this ability to do more than we've ever seen done in the past.
The engineering behind the thick rubber bands propel Pogo Fred to these adrenaline-inducing heights.
You've got a couple of elastic bands inside a pogo stick.
It's kind of like when you stretch a rubber band to fling it. You're accessing all of that stored energy and allowing that to go with a high speed.
And when you hop down on that pogo stick, the bands stretch, increasing their potential energy, which they then release as kinetic energy when they boing back together.
Another factor in these fantastic pogo stunts is biological, his keen sensory perception.
The pogo stick becomes an extension of his own body. And so now, instead of knowing where his feet are, he's got to know where the tip of that pogo stick is at all times.
He can imagine that he needs an extra 30 centimeters for the stem of that pogo stick to hit the ground. None of his flips would be possible if he wasn't calculating in that extra space.
Finally, he uses a little maths and physics to control his movements.
He's using the physics of collisions to his advantage. You can see here, as he's about to do a flip, that the pogo stick isn't flat to the ground, it's actually angled.
Pogo Fred deserves his worldwide recognition, but our experts stop short of calling this superhuman.
This is practice, practice, practice. This is not a superhuman ability. This is just somebody who can do something very well.
Now we bounce from pogo sticks to the ultimate in frisbee tricks. He's Brodie Smith, the world's most famous ultimate frisbee trick shot specialist.
There's a lot of physics going on with his shots.
He can look at something far away and and he can do it over his head. He can make baskets from reverse. He can hit moving targets.
So how does he do it? Our experts break down the science.
The throwing of frisbees comes down to aerodynamics.
The reason a frisbee stays in the air is really the same reason that an airplane wing works.
Air takes longer to travel over the top of a curved surface than it does a flat bottom. This creates a difference in pressure.
A lower pressure region is created above the object and a higher pressure region below the object, effectively sucking it up into the air.
This generates lift.
That's why a frisbee flies, but in order to stay in the air, it has to have forward motion too, to create those low and high pressure regions.
That's where the throw comes in.
Throwing a frisbee is hard because you can't get as much power as you could, say, throwing a baseball or basketball.
As a frisbee flies through the air, it's actually banking off of all the air around it.
If you have it angled at all, it's going to catch air resistance and it's not going to be the throw that you intended.
It all comes down to spin and wrist action. Spin determines the strength and distance of any shot.
You flick your wrist, which is applying a torque to the frisbee. A torque is a force that's exerted some way away from the center of the object. If that happens, you can make it start spinning.
And that, in turn, keeps the frisbee stable in flight. But wrist action is where Brody gets his accuracy.
Brody really has a very good snap on his sidearm throw. He's getting a lot of rotational velocity to move that frisbee forward.
So what separates Brody from the pack?
In order to make these shots, he has to have a really good inherent sense of the lift and the drag and all of those parts that are affecting the flight of the frisbee.
He has the ability to look at an object out in the distance, mentally compute how far away that might be, and then with his body, modulate just the right amount of force, spin, and direction.
Brody Smith's Born This Way command of flying discs gets our vote for Superhuman.
If you're looking to play Ultimate Frisbee, this is your guy.